everyone, and welcome to another episode of Grassroots Racer, where I speak to a driver who swapped dancing for driving and hasn't looked back since. She's currently competing in the Formula Ford Championship at only 16 years old. I welcome Kiarra Jones to the show. So, how are you, Kiarra?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Me.
It's a pleasure having you on. Having people from all different aspects of motorsport. It's always great to talk to people. And yeah, you race Formula Ford, so a bit quicker than me in the V, but yeah, we both race open wheelers, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, you used to dance, so how long did you do that for, and what made you want to pursue motorsport?
So I danced for about 4 years. So when I was younger, I injured my back dancing when I was 8 or 9, and I switched to motorsport because my dad's always loved cars and stuff, and he offered to buy me a drag racer when I was 9. And I don't think that's the most suitable choice for a 9-year-old who's never raced a car before. So he changed his mind to a go-kart instead, and then we started racing that with my little brother. And we did that for about 4 or 5 years, and then I was ready to move up to something else because I was in the gap where I was too light for the bigger category, but I was too old for the younger category in go-karts. And it was kind of like, well, where do we go next? And I was 14, so I was old enough to get my CAMS license. So I got that, and now I'm in my Formula Ford.
Yeah, how long did you do go-karting for?
It would have been 4 years, 5 years. It would have been 4.5, 5, yeah. So from 2016 to 2020.
And what was your most memorable race from go-karting?
Probably the one where I was in, what's it called? Frogs Hollow. And there were only 2 of us on the track, and we were both the same speed the whole time around the track. So we stuck together for the whole time. My mum's whole family lives in Bega as well. So they all came to watch, and we were like going backwards and forwards the whole race for all 5 of the races. And we ended up tying points. That was probably my favorite one in go-karting.
What made you decide to go to Formula Ford instead of any other category?
Well, at the time when I was switching to Formula Ford, all I wanted to do was race. And we decided that for what it is, for how much it costs and stuff like that, it's easier to go up to that because you can get so much further with Formula Ford. Like a lot of the supercars drivers and stuff all have raced in Formula Ford before, and you gain so much more experience from having an open wheel car. You learn a lot of respect. I think you would understand how much respect, especially crashing into the wall last time. You learn a lot of respect for how to drive a race car in a Formula Ford, because you bump wheels or anything, you're gone. That's it.
Yeah, open wheelers are very expensive, so there's no tapping wheels down the straight, because I'm not sure if you're doing go-karting, but there was always a bit of side pod rubbing and a bit too close.
Yeah, on Formula Ford.
What did you think the first time you ever drove a Formula Ford?
Well, the first time I drove it, I was with Anglo Motorsport. I did one of their come and try corporate days with them. And we did the short version, the back corners of Sydney Motorsport Park. They cut the track off and they do the back 4 corners in just the square. And we did that, and I sat in it. My dad was, when I came out, he was telling me, you got to go fast, you got to go fast. I was sitting there going, oh my goodness, Dad, I am going fast in this car. Because I was so used to doing like 80 Ks in my go-kart, and then you go to a Formula Ford and they're like crazy. And that was the first time I've ever driven a race car with gears too, so that was a fun experience.
Yeah. Did you pick up manual, or did you have a bit of issue with that?
Well, my dad took me for a drive in an old car on a farm before we went, so I kind of understood it, but for that day I just sat in 3rd gear the whole track because I was too nervous to screw up their cars, because we didn't own the car at that time. So I was like, well, if I break the car, then that's a lot of money going for Dad. So we just sat in 3rd gear, which was fine. Showed that you didn't have to go slow in those corners too.
Did you have a favorite track, or have you even driven interstate yet?
I would say, which a lot of people would disagree with me, Wakefield is my favorite track.
I can see that.
I've only been to Sydney and Wakefield, so I prefer Wakefield over Sydney, just because I've driven there more. And it's funny to say, I can sit on faster speeds at Wakefield around the whole track than at Sydney, I guess. Like, I find it that I'm faster at Wakefield than I am at Sydney because I'm afraid of the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wakefield is my favorite track, and it's also closer to home too, so it's easier.
Yeah, one thing I like about Wakefield is the corner. So you go for the right hand and you come up the hill and you turn right, start heading back down towards the hill. That's a pretty cool corner. Do you have a bit of trouble there sometimes guessing for the apex because it's a bit of a blind corner?
The very top corner that gets water on it when it rains.
The
one where you come down the hill out.
Yeah, so you go for a right hand, I'm pretty sure, and you go up the hill and then you come.
Yeah, so all the way at the top of the hill. Yeah. I reckon I have more trouble in the fishhook. I really don't like the fishhook. Out of all the corners on the track, I don't like that corner. I agree though, if you don't get out of the first right-hander well, then you do have a little trouble getting into the second one. If you don't get up onto the top ripple strip, then it's not as easy to get into the corner, but I don't know. I have a lot of trouble with the fishhook.
Yeah. You posted that you get on the tools a bit and you've done some YouTube videos. Do you enjoy the mechanical side as well?
I do, yes. I'm still learning, obviously. I wouldn't be able to describe what I'm doing to you now, but I think that learning that stuff helps you to drive the car a little better, especially when you're out on the track. You can describe I can describe to Dad what's happening to the car and how I feel in the car, and like all the background knowledge helps a little more in that aspect of racing, I guess.
Yeah, so we don't pay any teams to look after our cars, so
yeah, exactly.
Like I did a bit of YouTube as well. I did a YouTube video on how to change a water pump in a VE Commodore.
Oh yay, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, very hard. I hate doing the starter motors in Hollands as well. They're a bit tricky.
Yeah, I've only ever done a gearbox. I stand in the garage with Dad and I'm told to stand quietly and just observe because he likes to be in his own headspace when he's building the gearboxes, so I have to learn while watching. It's a good experience, but it's hard to learn while you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So I'm guessing when you come in from your races, do you grab the socket set and just tighten your wheel, check your wheels, and do you do a bit of the work yourself, or do you leave that?
So I'm allowed to do the fuel. I'm allowed to check the tire pressure. When I say allowed, I'm allowed to do whatever I want on the car. Yes. Honestly, it's my car, but I feel comfortable checking the wheel nuts, the pressure in the tires, the fuel, all that easy kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we adjust the suspension. Yeah, sometimes we adjust the suspension, and I know how to do that now, but I still wouldn't trust myself to fully do it yet. And yeah, I just do my own stuff, really. I change my own personal stuff, and Dad really works on the car. But Anglo Motorsport has been really helpful with that. Tim, I don't know if you know Tim, he does a lot of the mechanical stuff on our car, especially Dad's just taught himself how to do it, but he was very nervous about it, changing the ratios in the gearbox. Oh. Tim does that for us, which is good because I don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah, we've been given a set gear ratio, so in our rule book, it's the gear ratio has to be this. So the Formula V gearboxes aren't that big. Like they may be that big, or if you can see, they're not too big. So I can go in there and grab out the right gears that we need, whatever.
Well, that's how ours is. You just bolt the back off, and everything just comes out with it, and then you just change them around. But it's too much stress for me.
Yeah. We've been lucky too to get some help from others around the paddock.
Yeah, and that's what's good about motorsport is a lot of people will stand there and help you, kind of like it's not like at dancing, for example, everyone would just leave you to do your own thing. Like it was a really nasty sport with a lot of little girls who little girls who would argue and fight and stuff. Motorsport is not like that. It's so much nicer.
I saw you were involved in the FIA Girls on Track program. Did you enjoy that opportunity?
Yes. So we went to, I don't know if you saw, we went to the F1 in Melbourne, and we basically got to spend the day so we went to the Red Bull Empire Racing garage, the supercars garage with Justine, and she walked us around there and explained to us what the engineers and stuff were doing and what happens during a race and how they stand at their computers and like all that interesting stuff. and we got to go to the Alfa Romeo garage for the F1 team. We got to walk through their garage, and their race engineer spoke to us as well. We spoke to Christina, I think her name was. She's a female engineer for the Alfa Romeo F1 team. And that was really interesting because that's what I want to do when I get out of school. I want to become an engineer for a race team, or a aeroplane company. And so we got to hang out with them, which was good. And we got to walk down pit lane, seeing all the F1 garages. And yeah, it was a very good experience. We got to meet a lot of people. We had a networking lunch and we got to meet a lot of people. I met a lady named Courtney Tyler. She owns GM Motorsport in Perth.
Yep.
And yeah, she was a very interesting person to talk to.
Yeah, so I know a couple of the Alfa Romeo team, and I think the Aston Martin team actually have a couple of girls in there who are actually really involved in how the team goes. So obviously it's good to see more women in motorsport.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like on the weekend, I did a rally, and my friend Charlie shared a car with me, and yeah, she had a really good time. Doing her stints, and it's great to see more and more women are getting involved.
It's good to see. Yeah, exactly. It's great. I like it very much. It's good this year for I guess me, and for like women in motorsport. We have 2 girls in Formula Ford this year, which is great. I love that. So it's me and Imogen Radburn this year in Formula Ford. So she's got a Duratec and I've got a Kent, but we still get to go out on track together, and there's 2 of us against the rest of them. So it's a lot easier than last year where it was just me. It's very good.
That's something we can relate to a bit in Formula V. We did have 3 girls. I think one had to retire early, unfortunately, due to something that happened. But yeah, like she definitely wants to keep racing. Like it wasn't her fault. And yeah, it was just. It's great to see that was like 3 women, I think, racing last round.
Yeah,
so it's
incredible. It's really good to see. Yeah.
Is there a driver that you look up to? You see as a good female role model in motorsport?
For a long time, I supported Simona in the supercars, and then obviously she stopped racing. So I've been following. I can see her in my head, but I can't think of her. She races overseas, and she broke her back flying in the F3 car, I think.
Sophia Flörsch?
Yeah, and I love her so much. She's such a good role model, especially because I have back problems too, so it's kind of like she broke her back and then went straight back to the thing that she broke her back doing. So I find her to be a very good like role model person, a very strong woman.
Yeah. And a woman in motorsport who's doing really well at the moment is Jamie Chadwick. She's the current W Series champion, and she's gone back to winning straight away. So it's good to see her doing well.
Yes, it is. Yes, and that W Series is a very good initiative.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of it 12 o'clock at night at Miami. So
that's the problem. It's at midnight. Same with the F1. It's always late at night here.
Is there a car or a category of driving that you would like to race in one day, even though you want to be an engineer?
Next year, hopefully, if the budget allows it, I would love to race in Toyota 86s or something like that. And yeah, maybe Toyota 86s, and who knows what happens after that. But I have to obviously get good grades in school first and finish school before I can focus on racing and engineering and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how you're focusing on being involved in motorsport, because you said that you want to finish school first. So I'm guessing in case racing you can't quite get there in racing due to like money's like racing is so expensive. You're hoping to be an engineer instead, maybe?
Yes. So I've been looking for a couple of years at ADFA. So ADFA does a really good aeronautical engineering course, which is plane engineering, which is very interesting. They do a women in engineering course like the FIA does the Girls in Motorsport. And so I went to that after the FIA Girls on Track. That was a busy week for me. And that was very interesting. We got to meet a lot of women in engineering. But obviously racing is where I've been pretty much my whole life. So I'd love to do something with racing and engineering together, but we'll see.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite number that you like to use?
Well, when I got my first go-kart, I got it from a girl named Mia Barry. I bought her go-kart off her when she was moving up go-karts and I was just starting, and her race number was 23 and her stickers were pink, purple and blue. And so when I bought her go-kart, I got new stickers with pink, purple and blue and 23 on it. So I've had 23 since then. So even my Formula Ford is still 23. So that's my favorite number.
And are you looking for any sponsors, or have you got any that you'd like to thank?
I'm still obviously looking for sponsors. Nita Homes have sponsored me this year. Matt Tompkins Media. Who else? De Beer Paint painted my Formula Ford for free, and J&M Custom Garage did all the fiberglass again, like fresh for me for free as well. So I'd like to thank all of them, of course. Then obviously mum and dad, they're probably the biggest sponsor that I have. So yeah.
Yeah, well, if anyone would like to support Kiarra, she's still a young racer who's in school at the moment, but she could look for some support and hopefully help you buy something extra for your car that you can obviously use to progress up the grid. Where can the viewers find your racing page on social media to keep up with your racing?
So I am on Instagram, Kiarra Jones Racing, and on there I have a Linktree page which links you to my Facebook and my email and my YouTube and all those other social platforms.
Yeah, cool. It was great speaking to you, Kiarra. You're a great speaker. Most younger people have a little bit of trouble, but I look forward to seeing your progress further in motorsport.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, like hopefully one day you do become either a racer or an engineer. And for anyone else racing this weekend, remember to drive fast and take chances, safely of course.
Thank you.